Hello. Hello. Uh, let's do a Q&A. Niels Albrecht says, so who ate the toast? Niels, I can't answer that. You know this, okay? And the fact that you'd even ask me is pretty despicable behavior. But I guess if it's just you and me, it was... Quang Di Du says, how do you manage to find all the footage used in your videos? I'm assuming you're talking about the stock footage, because like all the other stuff, obviously, I filmed that. But as for the stock footage, ArtGrid is where I got all the stock footage. You can't really get any better in terms of like bang for your buck. But I haven't always had an ArtGrid subscription. I've used Videvo in the past, Videezy, and Pexels as well. So you can use those if you don't have the spare change to spend on stock footage. Those aren't too bad, and considering they're free, makes it even better. Pamod D Silva says, how long did it take to create the video from the drawing board to posting it on YouTube? So yeah, for the Netflix one, it took about maybe 2 months from writing it. I had the idea for it ages ago, but actually writing it out and then to posting it was like 2 months. But I have like a normal job, so that kind of process was kind of stagnated out. It was just whenever I could edit, which was usually late at night, into the early hours of the morning when I had work early the next day, because I'm a psychopath. But in terms of like, if you're talking about hours, I guess maybe it'd be over 100 plus hours. Antonio Sotomayor says, this was amazing. Thank you. But how would you describe it? As a homage or a parody? Do you like Netflix docs? Yeah, I do. Quite a bit. Like The Last Dance, I think, was like phenomenal. So I guess it's like a bit of both. It was more about just highlighting that there's, especially with the crime genre, in terms of like Netflix docos, there's like a formula that I've noticed. And it's one of those like glass shattering moments that once you notice it, it's hard not to see it. It was just highlighting that, and that, if you follow it closely enough, you can pull something off very similar with much cheaper gear. I was trying to kind of inspire people to not be discouraged by big crews and expensive gear that Netflix and similar kind of production houses and studios use to kind of achieve the quality that they do. You don't need that. You don't. You honestly don't. As long as you sharpen your skills and like use what you have to the nth degree, get as much out of it as you can, and just be clever in areas when it comes to lighting and where you're going to shoot and how you're framing it, you can pull really cool shit off with, 1/10,000th of the budget. How long have you been editing videos, and what's your approach to learning new skills to use in projects? I've been editing for like consistently for like over a decade, since I left high school, which was 11 years ago. And what's your approach to learning new skills to use in projects? I think just experimenting and, observe stuff that you're fond of, whether that's a YouTube video or a movie. Focus on what aspect of it is grabbing your attention and it's making you go, wow, that was really cool. Just observe that and try and replicate it. And then once you get good at it, then you can start putting your own spin on your editing style. Editing is a skill that is very much a doing skill. The only way you get better is literally cutting more and more and more and more until you get something switches on in your head. It's weird. It's like saying, I want to become a really good F1 driver. You can watch, as many videos and tutorials on how to corner, but it's a total different kind of beast when you get out on the track and you start driving for real. It's honestly, the only way is to just do lap after lap after lap after lap, and it's the same with editing. It's just about cutting over and over and over and over, and you just get naturally better. James Conway says, audio and narration, why is it so hard? Yeah, audio is hard. I actually majored in audio in film school, and that's where I kind of got my like total adoration and love for audio from the professor there was just like, he was such an inspiration. You couldn't help but become enamored with audio after, the way he spoke about it and how passionate he was about that aspect of filmmaking. And, 60% of why something is good or bad is the audio. It's more important than video, hands down, without a shadow of a doubt. I'll say that. I don't care. If you think I'm nuts, it is more important than video. And boom, poll. You need good audio. Okay, this is not a suggestion. You can shoot on an iPhone, you can shoot on some camcorder, but if you nail the audio, that it can just elevate it next level. Whereas it doesn't work the other way around. If you shoot on a Red or whatever, Arri Alexa, doesn't matter. If your audio is arse, it's gonna feel low budget. Not that that's a bad thing. Low quality, doesn't feel like you know what you're doing. That's how it'll come across if the audio isn't up to snuff. So focus on levels. Levels are important. It's like dumbfounds me how many kind of YouTube channels I come across where audio just seems to be like an afterthought. And sometimes it doesn't matter, depending on kind of what you're trying to achieve. But if you're doing kind of film related stuff, if you're doing films like short films and stuff, audio is like so important. And I guess the one piece of advice I could give you in terms of like audio is the 2.5 rule that the professor at my film school talked about. So a human can only focus on 2.5 sounds at once when they're watching something. So if you've got narration and then background music, whatever's coming after that, they're only going to be able to focus on it half the time. They're only going to be half listening. And that goes the same way if, say, you've got sound effects and narration, or sound effects and music, the narration might fade away in the background. They won't be able to focus on it. So focus on your levels. If you're speaking, lower the background music. And the simple act of honing in your levels and making sure they're right has like a profound effect on making whatever you make video content wise, whether it's a YouTube video or a short film, make it feel like on another level. It's such a simple thing, but it gets just pushed to the sidelines because it's not as glamorous as like having a beautiful shot. You know what I mean? So yeah, focus on your levels and remember the 2.5 rule. It's always kind of steered me in the right direction. Fuddly Butter says, if that's your real name, Fuddly, congratulations. How did you make such a realistic moustache for the police officer? Okay. Okay, this question makes no sense because Andrew's moustache is real. You son of a bitch. Where did you get all these great sound effects from, says Bob Doetz. Soundly, another subscription service, which is really good. Or I'll just kind of find sounds on YouTube, or I'll record my own and just use some EQ and some reverb to try and massage it and finesse it into something that sounds like kind of what I'm imagining in my head. But, for like the hypercuts in the Netflix trailer, as an example, that was a combination of a jet fighter, a freight train, and a camera flash. And I just messed with the reverb and the EQ. And yeah, it gets that kind of that effect to the kitchen. Andy Calopi says, how many sliced bread were harmed during the film? A lot of bread was eaten. It was the greatest set I've ever been on. There's actually a shot of me when I did that final shot revealing the title. That was, I had to eat that because it was being eaten away by whoever ate it. So I had to bite in. I had to eat the toast for the effect. And because the camera's pointed down, the mic's kind of on top of the camera. I'm standing right next to the microphone, and it's literally jam on toast ASMR. Scotty Zeppelin says, the text below the bread on the plate. Oh, I want to know that trick. Scotty, it's like a magic trick. If I tell you how I achieved it. It's not as glamorous. But I'll tell you anyway. It's just me keyframing a mask frame by frame. Tedious, but effective. Like that, those 8 seconds of the trailer, that effect took about 3 hours to kind of nail. So yeah, definitely tedious, but paid off. Benjamin Thomas says, why do you do what you do? Benjamin, that's a deep question. I guess it's because I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Like this, filmmaking and whatnot and video content for YouTube is my escapism. It's why I live and breathe. It's the reason why I'm on this planet. Like I couldn't imagine doing anything else, and it keeps me sane because I have a 9-to-5 job in the hellish domain that is retail. So it's an outlet, and I adore it. Honestly, time just melts away when I'm editing. I start editing at 7 and it's suddenly 3 a.m. and it felt like it went by in a flash. Tem Production says, what's your future plans with your YouTube channel? I want to do it full time. That's the goal. Like I said, I have another job. So the more time I can dedicate to YouTube and this channel and this kind of awesome little community we have, the more videos I can make more often without sacrificing the quality. So I thought, it's time. I've ummed and ahed about this, and I feel like I'm like going by other YouTube channels, I'm like 80,000 subscribers too late. So yeah, I've started a Patreon. I've done it. I've tried to make it as inexpensive and affordable as possible for you guys, for those out there that want to support me in that way. You'll get access to kind of exclusive perks as you'd expect, like video commentaries where I'll break down how I make my videos, the music I use, the animations, B-roll, visual effects, all that good stuff. Kind of just going behind the scenes of what goes into the videos that I make. But yeah, that's the goal. And you know what? If you can't, no stress. You're still a big part of this community that we have here on this channel, and the videos that I make for this channel will always remain free for all. Like, that's never going to change. So yeah, if you are inclined to help out over there on Patreon, I would be forever in your debt. I'd genuinely appreciate it. Peter Allen says, you mentioned in the comments of another video that this channel isn't your first attempt at YouTube. Can you tell us a bit about the process of finding your place on the platform? Yeah, this is not my first attempt, not even close. But in terms of like finding a place on the platform, I think it really was just me finding myself and like what I could bring to the platform that was different to what else was out there. Because I think initially when you try to, you're like, I want to be a YouTuber. First of all, it sounds absurd. When I was in high school and we had career, counseling and stuff, and I'd go, no one said I wanted to be a YouTuber in 2008. Like, you wanted to, but you never said that out loud because it was such a ridiculous kind of thing. But now it's much more, it seems more attainable. But initially, it was me trying to imitate other YouTubers. I was like, that's so cool. That guy just talks about gaming news for a living. Like, it sounded so ridiculous to me that was like something you could do and get paid for it. But yeah, initially it was just a gaming channel, and then movie reviews. I even did I delved into sport, like Aussie Rules over here. There was a whole bunch of stuff that I tried to do that just didn't pan out because it was me trying to be another YouTuber. And eventually Paul E.T. kind of melded together, and out came this kind of little niche that I kind of formed, which was a slightly different way to talk about filmmaking and kind of demystify the magic of filmmaking. And all of a sudden, once you find that you can make content that is unique to you, because there's only one of you, and if you can lean into that, then of course your stuff is going to be unique. That was when it kind of started popping off, and it is a lot of luck. As like Bo Burnham has said, a lot in the past. It's so much luck. So don't be too discouraged if you haven't been successful, straight away. It takes time. And it won't take as long as it took me, because I got discouraged a lot and gave up. But yeah, just keep at it and lean into what makes you you. DGI Lover says, why jam on toast? Why not peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Because PB&Js are not very popular. They're not like as popular as they are in the US. We don't say PB&J. We don't say jelly. It's jam. It's jam, and it forever will be jam. It's not jelly. Jelly is this. That's jelly. Jam is jam. Saeed Iqbal. Man, these are tough. Which software do you use to edit? I use the Adobe Suite, for better or for worse. I would like to try DaVinci, but it's so daunting because I have used Adobe products since I left high school. Is kind of how I learned to edit, was in Premiere, so I know it like the back of my hand. So the idea of switching is kind of scary. Christian CS says, how did you learn acting? I didn't. I did not. Not out of... I learned how to be adequate out of pure necessity. Because when we did stuff when we left high school, I was, for some reason, always put in front of the camera. So I just had to try and be not so horrible. Just to be, just try to be half decent. So I guess I got a little bit better over time, but I did like drama in high school, but I didn't do any acting. Zayed says, what did it feel like to have the Mirrors video blow up seemingly out of nowhere? Yeah. That was unreal. Like, let me break it down for you. This time 10 months ago, I had less than 100 subscribers. And here we are. I remember getting up in the morning and just being astonished at how the subscribers and the views was going. Just skyrocketing. Night after night, because, as I'm in Australia, often most of the views would come from, countries that were awake when I was asleep. So it'd always be, I'd wake up and I'd be like, holy shit, what is going on? YouTube just decided to pluck this one out of obscurity and start recommending it to people. So it was surreal. I never in a million years thought that would happen. I made that video. I was proud of that video. And I put it out, and I didn't think it'd get more than, 100 or so views, because that's just all the subscribers I had. And it didn't, videos before that never really pushed out or penetrated past my subscribers. So, when I hit like over 10,000 views, I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. So yeah, it was unbelievable. Krishnan P. Nier says, do you pay for the music used in the video? Or is there an online audio library that we can access for free? Yes, I do pay for it. It's actually through MusicBed, which, like ArtGrid, I think is just ridiculous in terms of the value for money. And that's pretty much where 99.9% of the music comes from in my videos. And, music is really important. I love music, and I think it's part of the reason why my videos feel a little different to other kind of videos of a similar vein. Yeah, I spend hours on MusicBed, literally trying to find the right outro music or the right, song for this specific part of the narration. But if you don't have the money to spend on a music subscription service, YouTube has a music audio library. Yeah, you can access it through YouTube Studio. Okay, I think that's about it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're having a wonderful day, weekend, week, whatever day of the week you're watching this. And yeah, I've got a new video coming out soonish that I think you'll like. But yeah, as always, and until then, I'll see you around.